look at Brendan now too. I mean,
Yeah.
how cool is that too? After all these years, he's getting this recognition, and that's fantastic. I'm really happy for him and what he's been through, and now kind of years later getting this sort of comeback.
Yes, I communicated with him this week. Of course, we're all happy for him. The Mummy crowd, Steve Summers, the director, all of us, John Hanna. I spoke to everybody, and we all spoke to Brendan. And
where the hell are we?
40 miles from Germany.
My name is Colonel Martin Bach of the German Protection Squad. This is a bomber aircraft, yes? What was your target?
Arnold, how are you?
hey, cool, man. Hi, how's it? Can you hear and see me?
I can hear and see you. So,
All right. All right. It was Jim, right? Is that who I'm
yes.
speaking with? All right, cool. I'm Arnold. Hi.
Hey, been a long time fan. I'm very familiar.
Oh, cool. All right. All right.
Where are you at today?
Santa Monica.
Oh, very nice. I'm sure it's a
Yeah.
lot better outside than here in Chicago, where it's basically pounding snow and cold. So
Jeez, I worked there. I worked
that's
in
right. You
Chicago.
did a play, right? Earlier in your career.
Yes, yes, I did it at the Northlight Theater, but that was
Uh-huh.
during the summer. But then a few years later, I was there in February, and it was a TV show, and I remember I wore a suit, and we were outside shooting, and then the director of photography, this was before they were shooting on digital. It
Mm-hmm.
was on film, and he said, if soon when we start shooting on digital, um, then we'll keep going, because it was like minus 16 or something outside.
Yeah.
And he says, but now on film we've got a wrap when it gets to like minus 20, because the film gets so brittle in the sprockets that they can't guarantee, Kodak can't guarantee the stock. So we had to wrap that day, because I think it was like minus 20 or 21. I was thinking, what the fuck, man? I mean,
You're from South Africa, right? I mean, originally.
yeah. No, it's shocking. It's like for South African, where it's like cold is like, 61.
Yeah.
Then it's like a chilly day. So yeah, I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. Like, people live here in Chicago and like function and have lives and aren't like dying from like.
Oh yeah, no, it happened. I mean, I lived in LA too, which is probably a great reminder for me to move back there, with days like this too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I grew up here, so I'm kind of used to the next week -7 and all that stuff. So,
Jeez.
everything's freezing. Life is freezing. So enjoy
Yeah.
Santa Monica in that case.
Yes. Yes.
It's funny because like everyone's looking for you in this movie, and I got you right here. So, all they have to do is just ask me where you're at.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so funny because like I've watched a lot of your films and shows, and too, it's just like you're so good at playing such an imposing character. You know what I mean? Like, not to be messed with. It almost makes me think you're always sort of a leader type of role. Was this a natural kind of role for you to do? Because I completely see you in something like this. Totally.
Yeah, yeah. No, I tend to play those bad guys because
Yes. Leader
of
bad guys too, like the head of the bad guys usually.
Right. And for whatever the reasons are, because of my physicality, the way I look, whatever. But this particular one was interesting because I remember when I read it, I thought, oh, this is really cool part. It's well written, because you're always attracted to the writing.
Mm-hmm.
But I was shit scared. It's like, I don't know if I can pull this off. It's German, and
Yeah.
it's this and that, and it's the Nazi uniform. Is it a bit cliche? Can I do something new with it? Can I do something interesting and scary with it? Or is it just going to be another blah, blah Nazi thing? And once I got over those fears, Phil's script sort of pulled me in and showed me the way. And, we got in there and battled through the German, because I had to learn all that stuff phonetically. And we got it done, and it turned out great. So I'm happy I said yes. But at first, there was a good week there when they offered it to me, where I was like, oh, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can pull it off, number one. And it's a lot of hard work. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. But that was part of the attraction, was the fear factor. As you go, I'm shit scared to do this because I don't know if I can do it. And then ultimately, that's the reason you say yes. You go, okay, I'm just going to go for it and do my best, and they can only fire me. What the hell?
Hey, they already hired you, so you're good at the start here, at least. You know what I mean? You got the job, and then you get to decide. Were you interested in history? Or kind of a history buff in a sense too? Because I felt like a lot of this movie, there's like interesting historical kind of dialogue in a sense too. Is that something that naturally interests you?
No, not at all. I'm not at all into in fact, I think the only sort of World War II genre movie that I remember, or that I vaguely like, was the Clint Eastwood, where Eagles Dare, that adventure movie on the mountain. Yeah, great character actors and stuff. And but yeah, no, I'm not a History Channel guy. I don't follow it. I didn't really know much. I know that a lot of the Germans had fled to South America. That part I knew, but no, I'm not a historical buff at all. And it was nice to speak to Phil and find out, because he had just done his homework and, of course, overcompensated. He knew everything that there was to know about Nazis in South America ever, So he was the guy to ask if you had any questions. And then the other attraction was playing Colonel Bach. Was that, it's so rare that you play someone, even other bad guys I've played have not qualms, but they have reasons why they're bad, whatever that might be. They're in love. They're like in The Mummy. He wants to destroy the world because he wants his love back. But in this case, this guy, man, this Colonel Bach he has no doubt, that what he believes in is true and right, and whatever comes out of his mouth is the ultimate truth. So it's sort of liberating to play a guy like that. They were just like a guy that just like, hey, this is how it is. This is how we're going to do it. Do it. So there's something really weird and empowering about playing somebody like that. That just has no doubts. It's kind of freeing.
Interesting. It's cool to hear after, your vast career that you still are challenged by roles and scared in a sense sometimes about a specific character. It's really interesting that you're still at a point where, you haven't technically, even though you have a lot of experience, but there's still things that kind of frighten you and challenge you at this point of your career. I find that really actually kind of refreshing.
Yeah, no, it is. You read the stuff, and a lot of times stuff will get offered to me, and I'll be like, no, I've done this before 10 times. I don't want to do it again. I can do this with my eyes closed, and it's not a challenge. So it's nice when something like this comes along and puts the fear of God in you, and you just, you don't know whether you're going to pull it off or not, and you doubt yourself, and you beat yourself up, and you do the homework, and then you get to set. You put on that Nazi uniform and you walk out there and they say action. You're like, all right, fuck it. Here we go. Action.
There you go.
And you go for it. And then somehow it all miraculously works out. It's you sort of trust, now that with all my experience, you trust in the process. If you do the homework, that somehow the thing's going to land on its feet. But yeah, no, it's scary. It's scary. It's scary to act in another language. I'll tell you that flat out. I won't do it again. No way.
Oh, okay. So this is a one-time thing, basically, right?
Yeah. No, don't
check off the list. You check the list.
Don't ask me to come and be a Czechoslovakian in your movie and speak my dialogue in Czech or something, or French. No, it's just too hard. It's too hard. I'm too old.
At least you've done it. You achieved that mark in your career. Now you can cross off the list. So there you go.
Yes, no, exactly. I can say I acted in another language that I don't know the first thing about, and did an accent. And the accents, of course, are easier, but there's also pitfalls in the accents. We've seen these Nazi movies over and over, and you don't want to sort of do a bad German accent. So that's also problematic. But the toughest thing was clearly just doing and you're working opposite, in this case, American actors who obviously English speaking, who are doing also German dialogue. So, and so you kind of have to learn. I learned their dialogue as well. You sort of wait for them to speak, and then they finish, or you think they finish, and then you go, okay, now I think I'm going to speak because that guy is shutting up. I better go, and then you go. So but editing fixes all those awkward pauses and stuff. But it's difficult. It's very difficult. It's hard enough doing it in English. To do it in another language is bloody difficult.
Wow. Can you believe we're almost coming up on 25 years since The Mummy released? It's crazy.
I know.
It's like another lifetime ago, but the movie still, sticks. I mean, does it feel for you too like a lifetime ago that you were starring in those movies, or
no? To me, it feels. Yeah, you're right. To me, it feels like 12 years ago. It feels like, okay, I was in the desert there with Brendan and Rachel and John Hannah and everybody like 12, 14 years ago. We shot this thing in Morocco, and it doesn't feel like 25 years. That's just weird, man. It's just crazy.
And look at Brendan now too. I mean, how cool is that too? After all these years, he's getting this recognition, and that's fantastic. I'm really happy for him and what he's been through, and now kind of years later getting this sort of comeback.
Yes, I communicated with him this week. Of course, we're all happy for him. The Mummy crowd, Steve Summers, the director, all of us, John Hannah, I spoke to everybody, and we all spoke to Brendan. And yeah, it's the coolest thing, man. So, it's Hollywood is a business town ultimately, or film business, it's show business. And now with this resurgence or this renaissance or whatever you want to call it, Brendan's, the studio will take note, and perhaps they'll do another Mummy movie. We'll see what happens, whether Brendan signs on and Rachel and everybody, and whether in fact they even want me as the Mummy, because in the third one they did Chinese mummies.
There's a Randy Couture one. I think. Well, there's a lot of iterations.
There's all these different, but it'll be. We'll see if they have the original crowd back and have Imhotep back, and
there you go.
We'll see what happens. We'll see if we get asked or not. But I'm definitely open to it because it'll be nice to. I did the first two.
Yeah.
The ones with Rachel that she was in, Rachel Weisz, and. It'll be nice to do a third and final one and just sort of button it up and say, okay, there's a trilogy there now. And because they're beloved. I mean, wherever I go, no matter what I do, people stop me in the mall, at the airport, wherever. And they always talk about the Mummy movies and how much it means to them, and their kids love it and blah, blah, blah. So it'll be nice to do a third one and third one and do it right, do a good one, and then walk away. That'll be nice.
That would be really cool. And it's cool that it's passed down through generations too. The kids that grew up watching it have kids now, so too.
Yeah.
That way.
Yeah,
so
I met a director the other day, and he said, he was like, I don't know why, I didn't ask him how old he was, but he was saying that, when he was 10 or 12, he was absolutely terrified by me. He was watching on DVD every weekend, every Saturday, he would watch Mummy 1. And then every Sunday he would watch Mummy 2, like 3-4 times. And that absolutely terrified him. I thought, wow, it's things, time has progressed. And here I am now in contention for work, where people were little kids watching me work then, and now they want to hire you for other stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, you were part of franchise of G.I. Joe too, another thing that people grew up on. It's interesting to be part of certain kind of franchise that resonate with people.
Yeah, no, it's nice. It's nice to because they live on, in this nether world. The fans glom onto them for whatever reasons, and one of the movies that people don't mention a lot, but a movie that I did called Hard Target.
Oh yeah.
With Jean-Claude Van Damme was the star of that, but it was directed by a man called John Woo, who's a really fine director. And that movie is beloved too. And my character in that movie, people come up to me all the time, all over the world, whether I'm in Tokyo or Sydney, Australia, they'll come up to me and they're like, oh, you were in Hard Target. And then they'll start doing my lines, So it's interesting. It's interesting how these things have a life beyond you, It's very interesting. Yeah.
Well, you had an interesting career, and you're definitely an interesting actor. And I've been a longtime fan myself, so it's really cool to catch up with you, Arnold, and see you keep on doing work and doing good work. So yeah, let's make this Mummy 3 happen. That'd be amazing to see.
Let's make it happen. Let's just not shoot in Chicago.
No,
winter.
not in Chicago. Definitely not. Not in the winter, and the summer's miserable too with the heat too and humidity. So yeah, find a nice spot for that.
Yeah, we'll find a good spot. We shot the first 2 in London, all the interiors in London at Shepperton Studios, and all the exteriors were shot in Morocco, in North Africa. So we'll see what they got planned for the next one, if there'll be a next one. Who knows?
Right. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk to me. Really appreciate it. And hopefully this isn't the first time we get to talk.
We'll do it again on the next one. Thanks a lot.
There you go. Hey, thank you so much, Arnold.
All right, man. Cheers. Bye-bye.